Okay, class, welcome to your sample test questions video. Today I'm going to go over some of the sample types of test questions you're going to get for Thursday's test. And these will be questions that are similar to types of questions that I will ask in future tests as well. So I have 5 different types of questions. You already saw the study guide from class today, so that should be fresh in your mind with relation to types of questions. Okay, so one example of the multiple choice question, which of these is not part of the SOAPst for the blank? Blank meaning as in, I'm going to give you a question that has a title. So if I put in here the, which of these is not part of the SOAPst for the, if the Japanese article, and then I would list 4 different things. So maybe I might list something to do with occasion, something to do with speaker, subject, tone. You would pick which one of these is not part of the SOAPst. Okay, so keeping here in mind and reference this idea of certain adverbs like not, because those are important in your text. Okay, the next one, this is my favorite style of question, where I give you a quote, and in the quote, I ask you which of the following does the quote contain? And I'm going to ask you specifically with ethos, logos, and pathos. And I'm going to put a couple of these in the multiple choice. So the quote will actually be in the text or on the test. You won't need your book for it. And then I'm going to ask you to, looking at the quote, picking out the ethos, logos, pathos. So, and then you will have options. So paying attention to the Roman numerals that show up before the word and then deciphering down here is important. Okay, this is one of the more complex style of multiple choice questions, and one of the most annoying because you have to use more of your logical side of your brain and deduce the answers. Okay, the next style is fill in the blank. I do not do word banks. So keeping that in mind, the word bank needs to be in your brain. And you're going to need to remember this stuff so that you are prepared for the fill in the blank. And now you can write your own word bank. Okay, and most of the fill in the blank is going to come from the 20 words from pages 36 to 38. So that will help you keep that in mind of the idea of where these answers are coming from. So the 3 points of a blank include speaker, audience, and subject. Now, if you're thinking the 3 points means a triangle, and the only triangle we've covered is Aristotle's rhetorical triangle. So that would be the answer that goes here. If you just put of the triangle, include, I'm not going to give you the points. You need to actually give me Aristotle in the answer. I might even turn a question like this around and put the 3 points of and give you the name of the triangle here, include, and then leave the speaker, audience, and subject blank. Or leave 2 of them blank or 1 of them blank. So that you're just seeing the other side of what the fill in the blank look like. Another example of fill in the blank, the S's in SOAPst stand for blank and blank. So if you know what these 2 stand for, then you can answer a question like this. I try and give hints and clues in the fill in the blank so that you can do it without a word bank. And if you know the terms and you're truly studying them and have your note cards and are flipping through them, then this should not be a problem for you. Okay, the last style of question is going to be, who is the intended audience for Toni, these are short answer. Who is the intended audience for Toni Morrison's letter to Barack Obama? Why and how is this shown? Now, there are 2 parts to this question. This question is probably going to be about 4 or 5 points. Remembering this test is your first real test with me outside of summer reading. Summer reading test was only 47 points. This test is probably going to be about 70 to 80 points. So this is your chance to make up for the summer reading, and this is your chance to show me what you've learned from the summer reading test. And you will be getting those tests back tomorrow so that you can see your mistakes. So you need to answer both parts of the question. Short answer to me is not a paragraph. It's not an essay. Just to give me exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm looking here for intended audience, and I'm looking specifically for a certain piece of literature. Okay, so out of the SOAPst, all you're looking at is the audience. Okay, so you can easily do this in 2 good sentences. Now, I wrote them here so that you have them as an example. I didn't give the full answer. but you have an idea now of how this goes. Toni Morrison's intended audience includes, so here, yes, I'm referring back to the question, so I give the author, I refer to the question because the question is this idea of intended audience. Okay, and then I'm going to list the two. Includes Barack Obama and the readers of the New York Times. I would spell this out. I just did this because I was typing quickly. So that gets you your first part. That answers the first part. But what's more important is the why and the how is this shown. So this is shown because Morrison published her letter in the New York Times with the intention of, and then here's where you fill in the rest of your answer. Okay, now here, looking here, you already mentioned her name, Toni Morrison's, once. So the second time you mention her name, you only need to do her last name, not first name, just her last name. Now, so there's going to be multiple choice, there's going to be fill in the blank, there's going to be short answer, and there's going to be a visual question. So if you look at these visuals, I'm going to give you a visual that'll be one you haven't seen before, and you will be asked to analyze it. So you're going to be asked to circle and label an example of ethos, an example of logos, so then examples of pathos. Talk about how effective or ineffective the advertisement is and why. So you're going to have to talk about all of that from what we have discussed and learned about analyzing visuals. So keeping that in mind, I'm looking for this type of information, but you're going to be writing it in sentences versus in circling it and stuff like that. On the test on Thursday, you will have the entire 60 minutes. Once you are done, you can leave. You do not need to stay for the entire 60 minutes. But I'm taking away the time constraint beyond, as in like a shorter time constraint on this, so that I can see what you can do with a longer test. Okay, have a good night, and I will see you in class tomorrow.